The 41st millennium is home to a wide variety of weird and wonderful war machines, and in this video I plan to add to that already long list with my own creation. So join me as I create my own self-propelled artillery platform for the Astra Militarum and crew it with the Praetorian Guard. Both the self-propelled and weird aspects of this build will be fulfilled by a pair of legs from the Armiger pattern knights. These already assembled legs are actually from an old idea I had a while back to reposition the torso piece to create a taller style of Armiger, but I never really progressed with that idea. So I decided to finally put these legs to a good home in this build. The gun part of this build was provided by the Krieg artillery team kit. I removed the parts required to build the frame of the gun before cleaning them up of any mold lines. However, before I could assemble the frame, I had to make a few adjustments. As I didn't plan on using the wheels in this build, I had to remove the exposed section of the axle. So I clipped away the wheel pegs, trimmed down any remaining lumps and bumps so the axle sat flush against the frame. Once I'd assembled the frame with a bit of glue, I then sanded the remaining surface flat. With the legs and the frame of the gun assembled, I would next figure out how to mesh the two together. After a quick comparison of the two, I settled on a fairly simple joining between the ball joint of the legs and a pair of beams on the gun's frame. To ensure a better fit, I did have to saw away the ball joint of the legs though. With the semi-sphere removed, I brought in the file and ensured that the remaining ring was as flat and even as possible. Similarly, the two bottom struts of the frame also needed to be flattened out to ensure a flush bond, at which point I glued the two pieces together. With the gun frame attached to the legs, I continued to assemble the gun as per the instructions, with the exception of the two trailing legs. Instead, these would be repurposed to create a sort of enclosure behind the gun. But before I did anything with them, I first needed to remove the struts for the feet, as these wouldn't be much use this high in the air. After cleaning up the cut points, I then assembled the tail legs so that they closed up towards the rear of the gun. There was still quite a lot of empty space at the rear though, so to remedy this, I thought I would add some miscellaneous mechanical parts. Using one of the Malleus rocket launcher cylinders from the Field Ordnance Battery kit along with the unused feet from the artillery team, I created an enclosed container that could represent all sorts of important engine components or simply a boiling vessel for easy access to tea. The cylinder was then attached to the rear of the gun between the enclosed trail legs, and I followed this up with various wheels taken from the artillery team kit. Next up, I needed some ammunition for the crew to load. Now, as I decided to assemble my artillery team as the heavy mortar, I needed some rounds that were suitably chunky. The Astra Militarum kits don't really have an awful lot of decent sized options here, but fortunately, the Ironweld Great Cannon from the Cities of Sigmar range has some really nice powder bag / projectile combo pieces that fit incredibly nicely along the inside walls of the trail legs. In a couple of weeks, I'll be at the UK Games Expo with my spare parts Emporium kit, and one of my biggest problems over those 3 days will be finding something to eat. I don't want to leave my stand for too long, and the only choices I'll usually have are expensive, sad-looking burgers, or just skipping meals entirely and relying on sugary snacks. Fortunately, today's sponsor, YFood, is here to help. As the bottle says, this is food, and they are incredibly convenient for when life gets busy and you don't want to compromise on a meal. Whether it's a busy workday, a tournament, or just when you're out and about, YFood has you covered. And that's because it's a complete and balanced meal, not just a protein shake. One 500ml bottle has 500 calories, 26 essential vitamins and minerals, a good amount of fiber, no added sugar, and up to 30 grams of protein. It keeps you full for 3 to 5 hours, ideal for getting you through those final games of the day without your energy flagging. And with no prep, no mess, or refrigeration required, you can just drop a bottle in your bag with your rulebooks and your dice. And you get all of this without compromising on the flavor. YFood have launched online exclusive taster packs like the Classic Pack, which includes Smooth Vanilla, Classic Choco, Fresh Berry, Cold Brew Coffee, and Happy Banana. There is also the Bestseller Taster Pack featuring Fudge Brownie, Creamy Cookie, and Salted Caramel, and they all have a great milkshake-like taste, but my personal recommendations are the fruity flavors like Peach and Strawberry, which can also be found in the Bestseller Pack. These have a refreshing yogurt drink style, and my personal recommendation is the strawberry. But don't just take my word for it. Give YFood a try for yourself and streamline your next tournament, last-minute painting rush, or day out. Simply scan the QR code or use my link below. And don't forget to use my code PETE-YouTube at checkout to get a huge 30% off your order. So take advantage of those extra savings and stock up for your next big event. With the gun itself basically complete, I could next turn my attention to the crew. From the field ordnance and the Rogal Dawn kit, I sourced and assembled 3 torsos, 2 standing and 1 kneeling. My first crewman was the commander, and to denote his rank I took an arm from the field ordnance kit along with this mug holding arm from the Rattling kill team. I removed both hands from their respective arms, trimmed up the cuts and attached the mug hand to the field ordnance arm. The mug arm was then attached to the Rogal Dawn torso along with a pointing arm from the field ordnance kit. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I decided that the crew of my emu would be the Praetorian Guard, and the easiest way of representing this regiment was to give them their iconic pith or sun helmets. These third-party components are the Saxon heads from the Liber Demonica, and in order to attach them to the Cadian torsos, I did have to do a little trimming to both the collar of the torso and the neck of the head. After several checks and trims, the head was fixed into place with a little superglue. For the kneeling legs, I took these bare arms from the Cadian upgrade kit and repeated my previous steps to attach the head. And then once more for my third member of the crew, who are armed with a map. From here, it was just a case of adding various little extra details, such as the toe anchors from the Rogal Dawn, some tools from the base kit, and a little piece of ragged paper taken from my very own Sorcerer's Spoils kit, which brought me nearly to the base. For this, I decided to keep things pretty simple. After marking out the feet of the SPG, I then superglued some chunks of torn up cork floor tile. By varying the size and shape, I slowly built up the appearance of large rocks scattered around the base, while still leaving space for the feet to be glued later on. The base was then finished off with a few citadel skulls. I was almost ready to start the painting, but before I did, I mounted the crew members and the walker to some smaller temporary bases. This would make priming and painting them much easier. I kicked off the painting with some primers from the Colourforge and primed the crew with some of my Dead Animal Bits spray paint before priming both the SPG and the base with some Desert Yellow. Not only did this provide a good surface to paint on, but the colours I'd picked would save me a lot of time in the painting later on. For example, the colour scheme I'd settled on the SPG was based on the solid yellowish tan camouflage painted onto British tanks fighting in Africa. The Desert Yellow was the ideal colour for this, but I did want to pick out the edges and surface details. For this, I opted to use some Vampire Fang from the Tooth and Coats range and apply it via a dry brush. After laying out a small amount onto my texture palette, I very slightly dampened my dry brush, loaded up a small amount of paint and worked it through the bristles using a circular motion. Once evenly spread, I then brushed this lighter tan across the surface of the gun where it steadily built up on the aforementioned details, helping to lift them up against the darker surface. But before I continued to paint any more details, I first wanted to add some decals to the model, and before I could do that, I first needed to apply a layer of gloss varnish to areas I intended to add the markings to. This gloss varnish both protects the paintwork from the solvents I will be using whilst also creating a much smoother surface for the transfers to adhere to. The transfers I selected were sourced from the various Astra Militarum vehicle kits, and for each of these I carefully cut them out and dipped them into a mixture of water with a dash of microset. The microset just helps to loosen the transfer from its backing paper, and after dunking the decal for a few seconds, I left it to one side until the transfer was starting to lift. Using a dampened brush, I then carefully teased the transfer from the paper and onto the desired position, at which point I let it dry. But the decals weren't quite sitting close enough to the surface to look painted on just yet. To fix this, I then applied several coats of Microsol over the top, allowing the mixture to dry fully between applications. This Microsol softens the transfers and allows it to form more closely to the surface beneath it. After a few coats, the transfers were looking much better, so I sealed them into place with a coat of matte varnish. With the surface sealed, I then gave the entirety of the vehicle a wash with brown tone from the Army Painter to help shade the recessed areas whilst also creating a more grimy looking finish. With the decals in place, I next began adding the weathering to the surface of my SPG. I started out with some Ivory Tusk and a torn piece of sponge. After dipping the sponge into the light tan paint and removing the excess, I then lightly pressed this across the metal surface and focused this application across the edges of the plate and pretty much anywhere you'd expect damage to occur. The light specks that are left behind represent scratches and dings left in the paintwork. I then repeated this application, but with some Death Reaper. This dark grey was used to represent the deeper damage, where the chips had gone further through the paintwork. Following the chipping, I then used the same Ivory Tusk and Death Reaper, but applied a few more targeted scratches and scuffs using a regular brush this time around. From here, I then turned my attention towards the crew of the gun, and to recreate the iconic red jacket of the Praetorian Guard, I started out with a base coat of Sanguine Scarlet. As with all of my subsequent base coats, I lightly watered down my paint and applied a couple of thin layers to achieve that rich red base colour. To start bringing out those details, I first began darkening down the recesses of the jacket by applying a wash of Hellion Red. This darkened down these areas and helped to create the appearance of shadows. Then, to enhance the raised details, I then applied fine lines of Demon Red to the creases and folds of the fabric. These same techniques were then repeated across the trousers. I started out with a base coat of Abyss Blue, washed them with some of the Army Painter's black tone, highlighted with Witching Hour Blue, and then finished them off with a few small dots of Leviathan Blue as an extreme highlight. For the skin, I started out with some Barbarian Brawn, washed it with some warm skin tone from the Army Painter, and highlighted with some Dwarven Skin. The next area to focus on was the armor and helmets of the crew, and I kept these as the original Dead Animal Bits spray primer. However, there were a few overspills from the previous step, so I first cleaned up these spots. Dead Animal Bits is incredibly close to Games Workshop's Archaic Flesh or Tooth and Coat Griffon Claw, so you can use either of these to clean up. With the cleaning up done, I then gave the armor a light wash of Archaic Sepia. Before starting on the highlights, I first used Ivory Tusk, and then added a few small spots of Trooper White. To paint all of the leather and metal details across both the crew and the gun, I used some Death Reaper. For the leather details, I then first highlighted using some Dungeon Stone Grey, and followed this up with some Wizard Grey. For the metal areas painted with Death Reaper, I highlighted them with some Surcoat Silver. The wooden boards on the SPG platform were my next areas to paint, and I started off with a base coat of Scorched Earth, washed with some brown tone, before picking out the wood grain with Ancient Forest, followed by some small spots of Wasteland Brown. For the jacket of the mortar rounds, I applied a base coat of Argonaut Skin to create a light brown fabric colour. This was washed with brown tone and highlighted with Kronos Flesh, followed by Ares Flesh. And with that, I could turn my attention back to the base and the cork rocks that I'd added. To bring out the texture on the cork, I first washed them with brown tone, and then dry brushed them with some Skeleton Legion. The skulls that I'd added were then painted in the same manner that I painted the armor, and I then added a few extra freehand details using some matte black. This included some tattoos on the crew, uniform markings, and text on the maps. With everything painted, I then sealed in all of the paintwork with a coat of matte varnish, and began assembling everything. This involved carefully removing the parts from their temporary bases, scraping clean their contact points, and gluing all the parts into place. All I had to do now was to finish off the base, and this was made quite simple by some of the Siege Scenic's Mangala Plateau. I painted on a little Mod Podge onto the base between the rocks and the feet, and sprinkled on the Mangala Plateau until the entire base was covered in the reddish brown rocks. Over the top of these, I then superglued some Fireheart Grove tufts, also from the Siege Scenic's range. I then cleaned up the rim of the base with a black marker from AK Interactive, and I was left with this. And here we have the completed self-propelled gun platform that I'm calling the Emu. This build was not only a great opportunity to build a weird 40k vehicle of my own design, but it was also a perfect chance to tackle some Praetorian Guard. So regardless of if you're interested in weird walker vehicles or iconic Astra Militarum regiments, hopefully this guide had something for you. Now if you want to give this build a go for yourself, I'll include some links to all those kits I used down in the description below, along with all the modeling and painting equipment that were used in this video, along with some affiliates links. I've also recently partnered with Warhouse, so if you're in Australia, New Zealand, or any country for that matter, and are looking for some discounted Warhammer, be sure to follow my links down to them below. Now before I go, let me just say a huge thank you to everyone who continues to help keep my channel going. Just by watching, you're helping to support me and making more videos, but if you really want to help out, you can pick up one of my spare parts Emporium kits or become a patron or channel member. Members get early access to ad-free videos, exclusive merchandise, and even your name in the credits. Simply follow my Patreon link below or hit the join button. Just like my top Patreon supporters did, who are Andrew Marston, Ban Yevrian, Berserker, Dakota Kaburi, Daniel Dowling, David Ernst, David Smith, George Kanzini Roberts, Little Templar, Maciej Savitsky, Matt Mini-Minute, Sam Sepulveda, Son of Sevatar, Swedsman, Tim, and Zeth27. And my top channel members who are Aaron Hayward Daniels, Andrew Chow, Bon Johnson, Chris Toomey, Dante, Dave, Doug H, Edmund Unplugged, John Gibbs, Kaiser Waffle 11, Lariat11, Mark Taylor, Mr. Podar, Nerdington Paint, Patrick K, Philip Poyer, Rhino Shaughnessy, SO, SJ Carper, The Sire Acquired, and Whale Tussler. So until next time, thanks for watching, and goodbye.